Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Lunar Lancer Alia playing the Forrest Sherman, which is a relatively new U.S. destroyer. I personally think the Forrest Sherman may be a little overpowered. Yeah, that's just me. I'm not criticizing any players that like the ship. It is a very, very powerful ship. And in capable hands, can be devastatingly effective. Now, what is it about this ship that makes me say that? Well, let's start with just the description. Now, this is obviously a Tier 10 premium ship. And this is the description on the World of Warships wiki. A series of destroyers built after World War II and designed with the experience gained from the conflict in mind. The ship's armament was primarily aimed at fighting off aerial and underwater attacks. Forrest Sherman is available in the armory for 232,000 coal. Now, it may be pretty decent at fighting off aerial and underwater attacks, but that is not the strength of this ship, in my opinion, and I think you'd probably be hard-pressed to find anybody who would say that it is. The strength of this ship is kind of in the sum total of all of the things that the ship is capable of doing. If you look at the bottom of the screen there, you see that it has torpedoes, it has smoke, it has hydro, and it has defensive fire for shooting down aircraft. Now, the torpedoes, as you probably just saw, have a really, really narrow arc, from which to drop the torpedoes. So you kind of have to maneuver the entire ship, but there's really no way around it. You have to maneuver the entire ship in order to be able to drop any torpedoes. But if you get them in the water, they have 16.5 kilometers of range. These are gearing torpedoes. And if they hit things, they hit really hard. So yeah, they're kind of tricky to utilize because you can really only aim them by turning your ship, as you see here. You can't just kind of turn your ship somewhat and then say, well, that's enough. Now, I will say right here, this is a dangerous spot to be, because if Moskva decides he wants to use his radar, you got a lot of ships that are going to be putting shells on you, including the Harugamo right there. And they know you're in here. So, okay, so let's get back to what the Forrest Sherman can do. Look at the HP on the ship, 24,900 HP. It's not too shabby, right? And just got detected. Manages to avoid getting hit, so it's still possible that he can secure the cap. I can't believe that Moskva has not used his radar yet. And our hero goes nose into the island, unable to get the torpedoes, all the torpedoes away. Got one off, but now covered and detected. Covered by the island, but detected. And that's a hydro that's detecting him, so that's going to be active for a while. And I think probably it's time for smoke. Now, the guns. These are, to me, the bread and butter of this ship. And, he had to move. The smoke wasn't going to do any good with hydro, but he still got it available. So if he can get out of the hydro range, it can be effective. Now, the guns. Let's take a look at the guns. So these are 127s. Now, you don't have a lot of them, right? But look at the reload. The base reload is 1.5 seconds. What is it now for him? 1.2 seconds? All right, take a little damage with the right commander skill, and you're down to 1.2 seconds. Essentially, you got machine guns. And you'll notice that you got HE shells, and you have SAP shells. And these SAP shells are no joke. All right, so let me give you the details on it. Firing range base is 12.6 kilometers. HE shells do a maximum of 1,800 damage with a 9% fire chance. The SAP shells do a maximum of 2,700 per shell. And he's pumping them out every 1.2 seconds. It is a machine gun. And just watch, it doesn't matter what you hit. It just melts. And this is the real threat of this ship. Now, you can point out that the ship isn't very fast. I think the max speed's like just shy of 34 knots, which, yeah, that is a slow ship, but with careful positioning, that's going to rarely come into play. And just devastating firepower. So, not only does it have great firepower, but it's really hard to effectively counter this thing in a destroyer because you got to contend with the hydro, right? I mean, that is a real threat. And you've got the long duration U.S. smokes. So he's still got 1 minute and 23 seconds left on this smoke, and he's just putting out a constant barrage of shells, which is what now, 1.2 seconds to reload 3 guns. So it is more or less constantly putting a shell in the air. And Slava ran aground, so he's just going to keep eating damage. And yeah, okay, you can say it's just a little bit at a time, but it's kind of a death by 1,000 cuts. I mean, the damage total just keeps climbing. He's up 70,000, 71,000. And, granted he had some help there, but you can see the threat. So, and I imagine you've probably run across these. If you have a high-tier ship, you've probably seen these things before. And if they're not played well, just like any other ship, they're not going to be effective. But if somebody knows what they're doing, they're going to look for a place where they can smoke, have others on their team do some spotting for them, and they're just going to rain shells on targets. So right now, if we take a look at the overall picture, the good guys have the Alpha cap and the Charlie cap. They just lost the Bravo cap, which is almost certainly the red team's Sherman. This Yamato on this side and Harugumo on this side, they're in trouble. And Harugumo probably should run. Maybe just run toward G1 and try to get out of there. 5 seconds until smoke, but he may not even need the smoke. Well, you can see he did smoke up, or somebody did. So he's not going to use his smoke because somebody smoked in front of the Harugumo. Okay, friendly Harugumo did. And now we're up to 80,000 damage and counting. Oh, Yamato tried to take out the Borgonia, but no dice. Just keeps raining shells. Now, okay, the Harugumo torpedoes the Yamato to finish it off. Alright, so 96,000 damage. And I would say that this ship is every bit as big a gun threat as the Harugumo. Right? Now granted, in this case, the Harugumo has a lot more HP. He's just almost full health. But, our hero is going to have some help here. He's got CV paying attention to him. Got Ohio out ahead of him. The Ohio's probably going to need some torpedoes here, would be my guess. And the friendly Harugumo is going to be chasing behind the red Harugumo. And presumably be able to get guns on him here in the next 5 to 10 seconds. Yeah, good idea to pop the hydro before you head out there. And the hydro is going to cover not only the Sherman, but it'll help the Ohio avoid getting blapped. Do you have this ship? What do you think of this ship? I've played it a couple times. It's big fun to play. it just, to me, feels a little bit like the whole super ship idea. You know, it's got a gimmick that is devastatingly effective. And, you know, in this case, it's the guns. 2,700 potential damage every 1.2 seconds out of 3 barrels. That is devastatingly powerful. Arugamo tries to get to the map edge to avoid some shells, but you know, it just isn't going to make any difference. And that's kill number 4. Ohio does eat 1, but that's it. Okay, so now, you know, the question is, can our hero pick up the Kraken? It's possible. There's still plenty of time on the you know, in the game. 9 minutes 9 seconds. The good guys remarkably still have the Charlie cap, although probably not for long. So our hero will be heading for the Bravo cap. It's just going to take a while to get there. And Ohio's probably in trouble here. If the CV on the other team decides that he wants to sink the Ohio's probably in big trouble. But you still got an almost full health friendly ARP Yamato, a relatively healthy Arugamo, and you're squaring off against a Kleber and another Sherman. Now the other Sherman still has quite a bit of HP, but you're going to have help of the CV and the Yamato, and I can't believe that Montana just pushed out their kind of broadside to the Yamato. He's got to be turning out. Immelman drops the Montana, and Montana is now down to 34,000. Hack tries to hit the Yamato with some HE bombs. Now there is still a smoke to use, and you know, maybe this is not the right spot to use it, but maybe it is. Really only take one good volley from Montana to finish off this ship, but Montana decides he's going to put his shells on the Yamato, so he's just going to continue to eat damage. So smoked up now, taking fire, I think probably from the other Sherman. Throws it in reverse, yeah. And the Montana is going to go down. And this game is really probably all over. So what's the reload now? 1.1 seconds. Yeah, 1.1 seconds. Great game, brother. I appreciate you sending me this replay file. You did. You played really well. 4 kills, 113,000 damage, 5 aircraft shot down, spotted 3 ships, 311 shells on target. Just a really well played game, and it was fun to watch. Those of you joining me, I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Now I have to admit, I thought this game was over. But it is possible that we may see a Kraken happen here. So I wanted to jump back in and be able to comment about it. You can see the Lunar Lancer Alia has popped his hydro. And really it's just going to come down to probably whoever gets off the shot fastest. It's only going to take one hit on the Kleber, and that's going to be enough. Congratulations, brother. Nicely done. Yeah, this might hurt a little. See you next time.